Lara Trump on the Fox News channel. Lara Trump. Lara, it's great to see you. I said earlier when I was on with Jackie on the Big Money Show that I would always talk about schizophrenia, the seriously, dangerously mentally ill, because that murderer was indeed that. And part of the problem is the lack of state psychiatric hospital beds. And I want to point out, North Carolina ranks 47th in the nation in the number of state psychiatric hospital beds. And between the years of 2016 and 2023, the number of available, or not just state beds, state psychiatric hospital beds fell 90% in that state.
Yeah, this is my home state, North Carolina. All my family still lives there. This is so sad to see happen anywhere, but especially disturbing in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you know what was the mistake that this young woman, Irina, made? The mistake she made was sitting in the wrong seat on a public transit system. Her mistake was trusting that the local officials there, the elected officials, had done the right thing and we're going to keep the community safe. This is why Donald Trump is so serious about cleaning up our big cities in America, because it seems like a lot of these elected officials have prioritized the criminals over the law-abiding citizens. This guy had 14 prior interactions with law enforcement, guys. This is unacceptable that he was out on the street, that he was able to commit any crime at all, let alone this heinous crime. This young woman lost her life. Her family's lives will never be the same because of this. And I give a lot of credit to the president for calling it out, for saying, listen, we're not just going to leave this at the state and local level. We're going to do something about this federally. This is the first president in my lifetime who has taken law and order and safety and security as seriously as he has. Look what he was able to do in Washington, D.C. He's willing to bring it to every major city around the country. But guys, you and I both know all of these major cities, for the most part, are run by Democrats. They do not want the president's help. They are willing to allow their citizens to suffer and, sadly, like this, be murdered in some cases because they don't want the help of Donald J. Trump. It is an absolute shame.
I'm so glad you brought up the prior offenses, 14 of them, as you mentioned. How many red flags do we need to keep a criminal off the street, to know that eventually something catastrophic is going to happen? And this is an issue Dagan and I discuss all the time, because we see the same thing here in New York City, where people get out of jail, no bail, they're back on the street, they're doing it again the next day, or the severity of the crime is reduced because the pursuit of criminal justice reform. Why isn't anyone getting the message that we can talk about criminal justice reform, but we have to do something about the criminals right now in the meantime?
Yeah, there has to be accountability, Jackie. That's where this all comes down, that you have to have accountability for people. If you know that if you're in the state of California and you go out and you steal less than $900 worth of something, there's no consequence. Why wouldn't you steal? That's why you go into New York City. That's why you go to all of these, Democrat-run cities. Everything is locked up behind plexiglass because people know they can get away with it. We have to stop letting people get away with it. We have to have accountability in this country. I'm so grateful we have President Trump. I'm so grateful we have Attorney General Bondi. You heard from Todd Blanche there, who also works at the Department of Justice. These people are serious about keeping criminals locked up, about keeping our communities safe, and it's about time somebody stepped in to do something.
Yeah, and figuring out a way to put them in hospitalized long-term psychiatric treatment before they actually kill somebody, rather than, because it seems to be they're either in jail or they're on the street, despite they just don't put them in treatment, and there's nowhere to put them, not in North Carolina. But I want to move on to this.
Yeah, and Dagan, by the way, this is part of the problem with the homeless situation as well. A lot of it is mental illness. We have to start addressing that in this country too.
Yeah, they're inextricably linked, indeed. I just can't wait to see what President Trump comes up with, because it will be bold and it will set the hair on fire of the left. But we want to move on to this. Speaking of liberal hair being on fire, figuratively, Border Czar Tom Homan smacking down the idea that ICE is racially profiling and arresting innocent people off the street. Listen to this.
With this ruling, will the officials there, federal officials working for the Trump administration, National Guard and federal law enforcement, will they be racially profiling? How will they approach the people they think might be migrants?
Well, first of all, it's a false narrative. We don't racially profile people to arrest them.
I'd love some transparency as to why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data. We would love to see it. The American people should see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. ICE agents are enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. They're appropriated funding to enforce these laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go protest Congress.
I want to add, Laura, that woman also said an ICE vehicle parked near a church, although it's parked in a public place, is such a frightening sight. That was what she said to Tom.
Well, good for him for fighting back. You can't get one over on Tom Homan, that's for sure. This guy's tough as nails, and he's not putting up with any of it. And good for him, because he's right. Guess what? We have laws in this country, and they have to be followed. And if you are here and have broken those laws, then we want you out of the country. He also said in that interview, which I thought was really smart, he said, you know, our big problem we have with the sanctuary cities is if they would allow us to come into the prisons and actually take these bad guys, these criminal, illegal aliens who have broken the law multiple times and get them out, we wouldn't have to be on the streets. We wouldn't have to put our ICE agents and law enforcement in harm's way. But the sanctuary cities are protecting criminals. It is so opposite of anything that makes sense to people. And so, you know what? He's not playing games. He's going to do his job. He's going to follow the law. And he's right. If all these people have a problem with it, don't take it up with him. Don't take it up with the ICE agents. Go to Congress, get them to change the law.
Yeah, you can do it the easy way or the hard way.
Right.
They've chosen the harder way.
Yeah, that ICE vehicle wouldn't be parked in front of that church if they had handed over the criminal alien to ICE in the first place. He wouldn't have been on the street. Sorry, Laura. Laura, it was good to see you. Lara Trump. Fantastic, always.